Seoul, South Korea. A tragic aviation disaster unfolded on Sunday when a Boeing 737-780, Flight 7800, operated by Jeju Air, a South Korean budget airline, crashed at Mourning International Airport, resulting in the loss of 179 lives. This marks one of the deadliest aviation incidents in South Korea in recent decades. The plane, carrying 181 people, was making its final approach when it experienced a series of mechanical issues, ultimately causing it to crash land and overshoot the runway. 2 of the 181 passengers survived, but the crash left little hope for the remaining victims. In the aftermath of the tragedy, investigations have been launched, including the participation of U.S. investigators from Boeing, the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, and the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, who arrived in South Korea on Tuesday to examine the crash site and assist with the investigation. According to preliminary reports, video footage showed the aircraft crash landing on its belly without the landing gear deployed. The plane overshot the runway before colliding with a concrete fence and bursting into flames. This sequence of events has raised numerous questions, particularly regarding the potential causes of the crash. Authorities have confirmed that the aircraft experienced engine trouble, and there were reports of a bird strike warning issued to the pilots, who then sent out a distress signal to the ground control center. However, experts are suggesting that the issue with the landing gear was likely the most significant contributing factor to the disaster. Investigators are closely examining the plane's hydraulic systems, which could have failed, leading to the failure of the landing gear and wing flaps. This is consistent with observations that the aircraft had difficulty deploying crucial components for landing. The South Korean government responded swiftly to the disaster by ordering safety inspections on all Boeing 737-80 and 0 aircraft currently operated by South Korean airlines. Jeju Air, the airline involved in the incident, has announced that it will reduce its flight operations by 10 to 15% until March to allow for enhanced safety measures, including additional maintenance workers. The Transport Ministry of South Korea revealed that authorities would be conducting extensive safety checks on all 101 Boeing 737-800 aircraft in the country over a 5-day period. These inspections are expected to focus on the maintenance and operation records of the aircraft in an effort to identify any potential safety hazards. An 8-person team of U.S. investigators, including representatives from Boeing, the FAA, and the NTSB, was deployed to the crash site on Tuesday to assist South Korean officials in their investigation. The team is expected to analyze crucial evidence, including data from the flight data and cockpit voice recorders, which could provide significant insights into the events leading up to the crash. However, results from the team's examination have not yet been made available, leaving the investigation ongoing. One of the key points of discussion among aviation experts is the possibility of a problem with the aircraft's hydraulic control systems. According to John Hansman, an aviation expert from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. The issue with the hydraulic system could have led to the failure of the landing gear and wing flaps, preventing them from deploying as expected during the landing. This could explain the pilot's urgency in attempting to land the plane. The lack of landing gear deployment, along with the inability to extend the wing flaps to slow down, would have significantly impacted the aircraft's ability to control its descent and land safely. The Boeing 737-800, while an older version of the widely used Boeing 737 series, has a generally strong safety record. Experts, including Najmuddin Meshkati, an engineering professor at the University of Southern California, have pointed out that the failure of key systems, such as the landing gear and wing flaps, indicates a more systemic issue with the aircraft's electrical and hydraulic systems. These issues would have made it more difficult for the pilots to control the plane during its final moments. Meshkati also emphasized that the flight data and cockpit voice recorders would play a crucial role in reconstructing the events of the crash and understanding what went wrong. In addition to the technical issues surrounding the crash, experts have raised concerns about the design of the airport itself, particularly the presence of a solid concrete wall just a few hundred feet past the end of the runway. Meshkati pointed out that such barriers could pose a significant risk in the event of a plane overshooting the runway. The South Korean government has announced that it will investigate whether the Muan Airport's localizer, A structure housing antennas designed to guide aircraft during landing should have been constructed with lighter materials that could have broken more easily upon impact. This inquiry aims to determine whether the airport's infrastructure contributed to the severity of the crash. So, in the wake of the disaster, the South Korean government declared a 7-day national mourning period, which is set to continue until January 4th. This marks a period of reflection and remembrance for the 179 victims who lost their lives in the tragedy. As of Tuesday, authorities had identified 175 of the bodies, and DNA tests are being conducted to identify the remaining 5 victims. The bodies were so badly damaged in the crash that they required special handling, and officials have expressed concerns about the potential for decomposition. Bereaved families have voiced their frustration with the government's handling of the situation, particularly regarding delays in providing the necessary equipment, such as freezers, to preserve the bodies. Park Han-shin, a representative of the families, accused the government of failing to uphold promises made to the families and expressed outrage at the lack of timely support. The crash has deeply affected the South Korean public, especially given that it is the deadliest aviation disaster in the country in decades. South Korea's aviation safety record has generally been strong, but this incident has raised serious questions about the safety of the Boeing 737-800 and whether systemic issues within the airline and aviation industry need to be addressed. As investigations continue, authorities are under pressure to ensure that similar tragedies do not occur in the future. In addition to the technical investigations, South Korea's Ministry of Transport has pledged to review the broader safety practices and regulations concerning the operation of commercial aircraft in the country. This review is part of a larger effort to improve the safety of South Korea's aviation industry and restore public confidence in air travel. The government has also promised to implement stronger oversight measures to ensure that airlines maintain high standards of safety and that aviation safety regulations are adhered to. The crash of the Jeju Air Boeing 737-800 is a somber reminder of the potential dangers of air travel, even with modern technology and rigorous safety protocols in place. It underscores the need for continuous vigilance, regular maintenance, and thorough inspections to ensure that aircraft are operating at the highest standards of safety. The ongoing investigations will be crucial in determining the exact cause of the crash and in preventing similar incidents in the future. The South Korean government and international aviation authorities are committed to uncovering the truth behind this tragic event and ensuring that measures are put in place to protect passengers and prevent further loss of life.